Imagine being a jobless, recently divorced single mother living on welfare. Then imagine being told by 12 different publishers that the story you poured your soul into is not worth telling. This was the reality for J.K. Rowling before she created a billion-dollar empire. In this video, we're not just celebrating her success, we're digging into the brutal rejections she and other icons faced. We'll reveal the mindset shifts they used to turn rock bottom into a launchpad. Stay with us, and you'll learn how to turn your own setbacks into your greatest strengths. We all love a good success story, but we usually skip to the happy ending. We see the global brand, the sold-out stadiums, the bestseller lists, and we think, wow, they were destined for greatness. But what if the real story, the one with all the power, is in the struggle that came before? Let's start with one of the most famous authors in modern history, J.K. Rowling. Before Harry Potter was a name everyone knew, Joanne Rowling was, in her own words, as poor as it is possible to be in modern Britain without being homeless. The 7 years it took to get Harry Potter published were defined by one crushing blow after another. In the early 1990s, she was working as a secretary for Amnesty International. The idea for a boy wizard famously came to her while stuck on a delayed train. But that spark was followed by a lot of darkness. Soon after, her mother died from multiple sclerosis, a devastating loss that haunted her writing. Trying to start fresh, she moved to Portugal to teach English. There, she got married, but the relationship was, as she called it, short and catastrophic. It ended in divorce, leaving her a single mother to her baby daughter, Jessica. She came back to the UK with her daughter and a suitcase half filled with the scraps of paper that held the beginnings of Harry's world. They settled in Edinburgh, Scotland, where she lived on government assistance. During this time, she battled severe depression, a period she later admitted was rock bottom. The bleakness of that experience directly inspired one of her most terrifying creations, the Dementors, soul-sucking creatures that feed on happiness. With a baby to care for and no income, she poured every spare moment into writing, often in cafes, while her daughter slept in her pram. Finishing the book was a huge accomplishment, but it was just the start of a new fight. She sent the manuscript for Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone to publisher after publisher. One by one, the rejection letters piled up. The feedback was almost always the same. The book was just too long for kids. One publisher even told her she'd never make any money out of children's books. In total, 12 publishing houses turned her down. 12 times she was told her vision wasn't good enough. For most people, that would have been the end. But Rowling's belief in her story was absolute. Finally, after a year of no's, the manuscript landed at Bloomsbury Publishing. The editor, Barry Cunningham, wasn't sold, but he took it home and gave the first chapter to his 8-year-old daughter. She immediately demanded the rest. That was the breakthrough. In 1997, Bloomsbury published the book with a tiny first run of only 500 copies. They even suggested she use the initials J.K. because they worried boys wouldn't read a book by a woman named Joanne. From those 500 copies, a global phenomenon was born. The Harry Potter series has since sold over 600 million copies and been translated into more than 80 languages. Rowling went from living on welfare to becoming the world's first billionaire author. Though she's since given so much to charity that she's no longer on the list. Her story is the ultimate example of perseverance, proving that rejection is just part of the process, not the final word. And here's the thing, Rowling's story isn't a one-off. The history of success is practically built on the stories of icons who were told no again and again. Take the greatest basketball player of all time, Michael Jordan. We see him as a symbol of untouchable greatness, but his journey started with a gut-wrenching rejection. As a sophomore in high school, a 5'10" Jordan tried out for the varsity basketball team. He scanned the list of names, and his wasn't there. He was cut. To make it worse, his taller friend made the team. Jordan admitted he went home and cried, but he didn't quit. That rejection lit a fire in him. He spent that summer practicing non-stop to prove his coach wrong. He dominated on the junior varsity team, grew 4 inches, and easily made varsity the next year. That failure became the fuel for his legendary competitive drive. Then there's Colonel Harlan Sanders. While most people are planning for retirement, he was broke at age 65 after his restaurant failed. All he had was a social security check and his secret fried chicken recipe. He decided to try and franchise it. Driving across the country, he went from restaurant to restaurant, cooking his chicken for owners on the spot. He was laughed at. He was told it would never work. The number of rejections he got is legendary, said to be 1,009 times before he heard a single yes. Can you imagine? 1,009 no's. Most of us give up after 5, let alone 1,000. But his belief in his product was unshakable, and it led to the global empire we know as KFC. And what about Oprah Winfrey? Before becoming the queen of television, a 22-year-old Oprah was an evening news co-anchor in Baltimore. But her bosses told her she was unfit for television news because she got too emotionally invested in the stories. She was demoted and moved to a daytime talk show, a move that should have been a career killer. But in that so-called demotion, Oprah found her true calling. The exact same empathy that made her unfit for hard news became her superpower, allowing her to connect with people in a way no one else could. That failure put her on the exact path that would make her a global icon. If these stories are hitting home for you, do us a favor and hit that like and subscribe button so you do not miss what's coming next. So what was their secret? What separates people like J.K. Rowling, Michael Jordan, and Oprah from everyone else who quits? It's not that they didn't fail, it's that they used their failure. They had a completely different mindset. Here are the shifts they made to turn rock bottom into a launch pad. First, they treated failure as feedback, not a final verdict. Every time a publisher rejected Rowling, it was painful, but it was also data. The feedback was that her book was too long. She didn't butcher her vision, but she kept searching until she found someone who got it. Michael Jordan used the feedback of being too short and not skilled enough as a to-do list for what he needed to master. People with a growth mindset don't see failure as a judgment on who they are. They see it as a lesson. They ask, what can I learn from this? Not, why am I not good enough? Second, they chose relentless discipline over fleeting motivation. Motivation is awesome, but it's unreliable. It's a great starter, but a terrible finisher. Perseverance is about showing up when motivation has already gone home. J.K. Rowling didn't just write when she felt inspired. She wrote while raising a baby, fighting depression and living in poverty. Colonel Sanders didn't just pitch his recipe on his good days. He did it after the 100th, 500th, and 1000th rejection. They built routines and habits, understanding that small, consistent actions are what break down walls over time. Third, they were fiercely connected to their why. Their purpose was stronger than the pain of being rejected. Rowling wasn't just writing a book, she was fighting for the world of Harry Potter and for her daughter's future. Michael Jordan wasn't just playing basketball, he was on a mission to become the best. Colonel Sanders didn't just have a recipe. He believed so deeply in his product that no amount of rejection could convince him otherwise. When your why is big enough, you can handle almost any how. Finally, they learned to reframe their negative self-talk. It is so easy to let failure become your identity. The mental shift is to consciously change that inner voice. Instead of thinking, I can't do this, you add one simple but powerful word. Yet. I haven't found a publisher. Yet. I'm not on the varsity team. Yet. That one word transforms a dead end into a road. It acknowledges where you are now without accepting it as a permanent stop, opening the door for what's possible tomorrow. Now, these are huge, iconic stories. But this spirit of perseverance isn't just for future billionaires and sports legends. It shows up in the everyday heroes all around us. It's the single parent working 2 jobs to give their kids a better life, fighting exhaustion day after day. It's the small business owner trying to keep the doors open through tough times, getting turned down by banks but refusing to quit on their dream. It's the student who fights through personal struggles and tough classes to finally earn that degree. The same feelings of doubt, rejection, and hardship that these icons faced show up in our own lives, just on a different scale. Being passed over for a promotion, pouring your heart into a project that fails, struggling to learn a new skill, these are the moments that test our resolve. And the lesson from all these stories is that the struggle isn't a sign you're on the wrong path. The struggle is the path. The untold story of success isn't really about the victory lap. It's about mastering the art of getting back up. It's about the courage to keep going after 12 rejections. The mindset that turns a setback into a strength isn't something you're born with. It's a skill you can build. It starts with seeing failure as a lesson, staying disciplined when you feel uninspired, holding on to your purpose, and truly believing that you can grow through whatever life throws at you. Resilience isn't about bouncing back to where you were. It's about bouncing forward to who you were always meant to become. So, what's the dream you're fighting for? What setback are you trying to turn into a comeback? Share your story of perseverance in the comments below. Let's build a community of people who inspire each other to keep going.